I finished work at 11:23 a.m. $489,000 a year as a cloud engineer. Now, mind you, I used to be an IT technician making $35,000 a year, and I was working on average 9 to 10 hours. And in this video, I'm going to show you my day-to-day, what I was doing as a cloud engineer. So if you don't know already, I retired my 9 to 5 August 8th, 2025, when I was 28 years old. I'm 29. And, this was possible because I understood one word. And this one word is what this guy talks about, not in this book, right? He has another book called Retire Young, Retire Rich. And he says that one word is called leverage. Leverage just means that you're able to make a lot more money and work less. Now, if you think about it, I was an IT technician making $35,000 a year, working 9 to 10 hours on average a day. Okay. But when I learned that leverage, that word, I said, okay, what skill set can I learn to make more money and work less? And that was cloud engineer. And so I was able to job stack ethically and legally because I had different contracts, right? And I'm going to talk about that in this video. But the first point I want to make is, I talked about leverage already, but the point I want to make is you want to start with the clock, right? Not with the money, right? And so when I started my job, I opened my laptop and, because there was, AI and I had context on cloud engineering, for example, I needed a way to build 4 EC2s, had an application load balancer to distribute the traffic, have a VPC where the EC2 is going to be under, right, for security, right, have some security groups to allow traffic, right, and also on the public subnet within the VPC, I needed to put 2 EC2s because I had an application that was public facing to the internet. And then I needed to put the other 2 EC2s, right, on the private subnet because it was a database and you don't want to share that with the public, internet. And so this is just an example, right? But this was like my requirements that I needed to do. And because of AI, right, and I had context, I was able to prompt AI to give me the Terraform code for the solution to actually, configure my main.tf file for Terraform to actually deploy my infrastructure. If I was to do this manually, if I was to do it myself without AI, it would take me a lot of time. But because I can just talk to the AI, literally talk, I don't even have to type anymore. You can talk to it, it's able to give me the solution at a faster rate. So I'm not working 8 hours, right? I'm working a minimum amount of time to get a maximum output, right? So I'm getting the solution and I'm shorting the time because of AI. And so, that's an example of what I did when I woke up, right? And that's going to take me around 30 to 45 minutes because I'm talking to AI. It's going to give me the solution. I'm going to now test it and deploy it. I may get some errors, which is normal, but because I have context, right? I know what I'm doing as a cloud engineer. I know how to prompt the AI to get the solution or to fix the error. Okay. And so so why is this important? Because I talked about leverage. Leverage means that you can make more money and work less. Using cloud engineering and AI, I call it an AI cloud engineer, right? We're able to have leverage, meaning I'm not working 8 hours for one project. Okay. I had multiple projects before I retired. Okay. And so same person, 2 different lives. This is the second point I want to make. So I was making $21 an hour, $35,000 a year. Okay. And working 9 to 10 hours a day on average as an IT technician. Now it's the same brain. Okay. But, same brain, I had the same work ethic and, I'm not different, right? I'm literally the same guy, but I found a way to increase my income to $489,000 a year, working around 2 to 3 hours a day. Now, some days, it was around 45 minutes, right? Because once you build the infrastructure, for the most part, you're just monitoring it. So you're not really doing anything. And then you can set up alerts in CloudWatch to look for certain metrics or, you can set up alarms once you build the infrastructure to monitor. Let me just keep it simple. And so unless I'm actively working on a project, and if I am, right, I'm using AI to reduce the time that I'm actually spending to build that solution. But literally, I'm the same person, same guy, but I had a different income, $35,000 a year to $489,000 a year. What is the gap? And this is probably the gap for you, is skills, right? How are you able to learn a high income leverage skill? High income means you make a lot of money. Leverage means you can make more money and work less. So a high income leverage skill set to actually make more money and work less. And for me, that skill set was cloud engineering and how to properly use AI to get the solution with minimum input, a maximum output, a multiplied output result with minimum input. Okay. And that's, and because I'm able to do that, I'm more valuable in the marketplace. Okay. And so now, the third thing I want to actually point out is where did the hours actually go? Right. For the most part, most people think I'm full of shit. And honestly speaking, if you hear anybody online saying, here's how to make, X amount of money, and I did this amount of time to do that, obviously you're going to have a BS radar, and you should, right? But don't take it from my word, right? Actually do your own due diligence. Actually, like, talk to other cloud engineers that's using AI and that's a cloud engineer, and look at how they're leveraging their time. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, I wish someone told me about this, which is why I'm actually making these videos to expose, to shed light on what's possible, the opportunity. Okay. And it's not rocket science, right? You just need to actually have the skill sets to actually create a solution. If you literally have a skill set where the nature of the job, you're not working like all the time. Like cloud engineering, you're not working all the time unless you're working on an extensive project and you're like the only cloud engineer, or you work at a FANG company. I'm just assuming. I never worked at a FANG company. But if you just like do your due diligence and ask other cloud engineers that's leveraging AI, right, and their day-to-day, like, you'll see what I mean. And so it's crazy, but at the same time, it's what's a reality. And there's a lot of cloud engineers leveraging this, what I'm, AI and cloud engineer, to actually live the life that they want, right? So don't just believe me, do your own due diligence. Don't just listen to anybody online, okay? And I'm that person online telling you to do your own due diligence. And so where does the hours actually go? Now, this is important, okay? I spent the time on the job, right? I had 3 different contracts, okay? I was working different because they're paying me based on what I can deliver, okay? So they're not saying, hey, you have 8 hours and we're going to pay you this, right? They had a budget and they say, hey, this is what needs to get done. This is the budget that we have allocated for what you can get done, okay? And I'm using AI to expedite that process, right? And so this is important because now, right, I'm doing this under, right, an entity, right, my cloud consulting business, and I'm able to leverage these things so that I can make a lot of money, and I had a lot of more time. Now, where did that extra time go? I had mentioned I retired my 9 to 5 at the age of 28. How? Okay, how? That's not common, and I'm not special, right? I just read this guy's book because I was struggling. Like, as an IT technician, it was really bad. It was a very toxic environment. And I read a book. Okay. It was this book, and then Retire Young, Retire Rich. So the point I'm trying to make is that extra time, even before I got into cloud engineering, I was already studying how to day trade. Okay. Now, I don't recommend you day trade. Anybody online telling you, hey, you'll make money day trading, and they're trying to make it seem easy, they're lying to you. Literally, just like, do your due diligence. It's not even that hard. You can even use AI, right? But if you ask AI about day trading, most people lose, right? So, but I was like, I'm going to be the 1% person, right? I'm going to be that small percentage, the person that makes money. Okay. And it took me 1 year and 11 months to be a consistently profitable trader. I'm not going to get into that. And I'm not saying day trading, but this is what I did. I learned that skill set of day trading. And then I was a cloud engineer because I needed more capital to day trade. So I'm learning skills right? Day trading and in cloud engineering. But when I was making a lot of money, right, I was like, okay, I don't really need to be on the charts all the time and day trade. Okay, I can just swing trade, which means that you can put money in a market and wait like a couple of days or weeks and you can make decent money or lose money, right? But because I had to spend that time developing that skill set, I already had that. Okay, I already had that skill. So at this point, I'm using my IT money, and I was making $25,000 a month, and I'm investing 90 to 95% of my income. Okay, I'm investing, right? I'm not day trading. I'm investing, and I'm creating a system to build wealth. Okay, I'm taking a lot of money which came from cloud engineering, and I'm using another skill set, right? Swing trading, investing, to take this money to invest it, and it's compounding. Okay, and I did that for an extended period of time to the point where I could leave my 9 to 5. As we're speaking, right, I have money making money for me, and that's a skill set. You just need skills. Okay, now that's what I did with the extra time. I just used that money and I was investing, right? I was finding different opportunities and I just put money in it and I deployed it, right? I wanted my money to make money for me. My money are workers, right? And I wanted to get to the point where my money can work harder than me. So even if I didn't work, my money's working. So now, the the last point I want to make, because this video is getting long, but you want to have, like, when I talk about multiple contracts, what do I mean? Okay. Now, when you have a skill set, a high demand skill, I don't know if you know this, but there is a lot of AI infrastructure being built, and there's billions of dollars, right, by big companies that are, creating this AI infrastructure in terms of warehouses, data centers, right, that's deploying different servers within that warehouse. Okay. And cloud engineers were the one who manages those servers, right, for the AI to live on. And so, like, there's my main point is there's high demand in cloud engineering, like supply demand. The supply is people that have the skill set. Okay. Like, cloud is unique. Cloud is not going anywhere anytime soon. And so, because AI is here and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And so how can you actually, learn a skill set, leverage that skill set because it's high demand, and the nature of the job because of AI and cloud engineering, you're not working 8 hours for one job, for one contract. And so because you're not working those 8 hours, you can actually acquire different contracts, right? That's a whole different video. If you guys want to see a video on, how to actually, attract different recruiters for these opportunities, let me know. But, you're able to leverage, this skill to get multiple contracts. Okay. And so I want to just take a pause and say, this stuff is not rocket science. Like, I wish someone had showed me this. I went to school and I got a college degree, right? Wasted 5 years and $70,000. I had that's security plus, that's A plus. My AWS CCP is not here, right? But I went certifications, but I was still driving Uber Eats at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was struggling, right? And I needed a way to, like, literally go from where I was to not where I am now, because at the time I was just trying to make 6 figures, but to 6 figures. And I struggled. And I just didn't have a clear way. I joined different programs and it just wasn't the right fit because I felt like they didn't have everything I needed. I needed to create my own resume, right? I was applying to jobs. Applying to jobs is the worst way of getting a job, right? I have recruiters reaching out to me, and I had to learn this the hard way. And so if you're in that situation, maybe you're making 6 figures already and you want to find a way to get to that 400,000, that $500,000 a year, right? Go ahead and click the first link in the description below. Me and my team will reach out to you to show you the next steps. And, I will say only apply if you're serious. Please don't click the link below if you're not committed, right? This is something that you do have to commit to learn the skill set. Okay. And you can't actually, get a crazy result, by just putting one foot in, one foot out. And so if you're interested, go ahead and click the first link in the description below. If not, that's fine. And then also you can check out other people's testimonials too as well. If you go to my Instagram highlights, you'll see a bunch of, like, testimonials. And then also I'll leave a playlist that you can check out. You'll see, different students, different results, and, You can check out, what we do here, within the company. We really just train people step by step how to actually get to certain income levels, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. Christopher right now, he's at that $600,000 range. Okay. He received $1.1 million in offer letters, 7 offer letters in 6 months, right? Now he's an outlier, right? That's not common, but because, not everybody's going to take this as serious as he did. He just literally followed the blueprint step by step. And so talk is cheap. Don't just listen to me. Look at the Instagram highlights. Look for Christopher. You'll see all the offer letters. Then also you can look him up on one of the testimonial videos, right? So going back to the video. So once again, if you're interested, link down below. Do not apply if you're not serious. We only accept people who is committed and serious, because that's what's needed to actually get the results. If that's not you, that's fine. There's YouTube University and there's other programs, but for us, that's what we do. So anyways, going back to the video, I want you guys to understand the thing that I was wrong for about years was I thought you needed to work hard, right? And somewhat you do, right? But you need to make sure that you're working and you're learning the right things. If you're going down the degree route, the certifications, right? Literally, for me and a bunch of students that joined the program, they did that and they were stuck. It did not work. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he says, you need to study, but you need to study the right things. He had a poor dad, had a mindset, go to school. He had a rich dad, he had a mindset about business, okay? And there's different skills that you need to learn. Okay. You need to learn the right things. You need to learn what is literally the steps that I need to do to have a skill set, not what I need to learn to pass a test. I was driving Uber Eats with this and I was working hard. Okay. Working hard. Okay. I thought that's what you needed to do to be successful. But if you work hard on the wrong things, you're still going to be broke. That's what happened to me. That's an information technology. It's a bachelor's degree, and those are 2 certifications. I have 3. But I was broke. If you work on the wrong things, you're going to be broke. Okay, and so at the same time, the point I'm trying to make, you guys, is number one, it's not rocket science. You literally just need a proven step-by-step blueprint to get to where you want to go. You don't need to join my program, right? There's literally, I'm speaking in general. It doesn't even have to be cloud. Okay. Cloud for me is just high leverage. I was making more money working less. And I was able to use that to invest and put more time living life that I actually wanted to, I was traveling, I was doing different stuff at the same time, right? But I was still investing a lot of my money. Okay. Number one, the point I'm trying to make is it's not rocket science. Okay. You just need someone to show you what to do step by step. Okay. Once again, you do not have to join my program. And I'm not saying, hey, this person made X amount of money, please join my program. I respectfully, I don't need your money. And the reason why I'm on here is because I want to shed a light to what's possible. Okay. There is a bunch of students that's seen success because they follow my specific step-by-step blueprint, and it's not rocket science. Actually, please, if you're serious, right, look at the testimonial YouTube playlist and look at just the different stories. Look at what they all say the same thing. I follow the step-by-step blueprint, and some of their results are crazy. And I wish I knew about this. That's why I'm on YouTube. That's why I'm talking about this stuff. Okay. So, because I wish somebody showed me this. I struggled and I paid a lot of money and I did not get the results that I was looking for. Okay. And so the point I'm trying to make is it's not that complicated. If you're interested to learning more, right, we have an application process. Okay. We do not just accept anybody. We need to actually make sure that you're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for you. And we know that we can work with you. Okay. And so, but if not, that's completely fine. Like I said, there's other programs. There's YouTube University that's free, right? Typically, it's probably going to take you longer, but it's still free. But still, I want you to know that this stuff exists. This is you find gold and you just want to share it. Okay. And so hopefully you guys like this video. And if you like this video, go ahead and click the subscribe button. If you want to see the video on like how to get recruiters to reach out to you, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video.